the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Logan, and I'm here bringing y'all this review to this newest Hulvey project called Broken Heart. Now, if you don't know who Hulvey is, he is the newest artist signed to Reach Records. Of course, that's Lecrae, Andy Mineo. You know how I love them, and I always review whatever projects they put out. Now, his debut project was called Prelude. It was about 5 tracks long, probably 15 minutes. This one is in a similar vein to that. It is 6 tracks and 20 minutes. And it came out in February on the 21st, the same day as the Allegory. So that was whenever I was out of town on the conference swimming championship trip as the athletic training student. So I didn't actually get to get a review out for this one. But being that this is one of my favorite projects to come out so far this year, I just wanted to dive back into it and give y'all reasons why, especially since I'm sure most of my followers have not actually checked this out. So like I said, it came out back in February. It's only 6 tracks and 20 minutes long, so it's really easy to get through. And Hulvey, he's got a solid flow. He's got a solid singing voice whenever he uses it. He has a really good vibe to him. He can get really hyped sometimes, but on here, he completely does the opposite of what he did on the Prelude tape, which, again, on the Prelude tape, that's where he showed off how hype he can get, how fun his raps can be. On here, he has that, but he's toned it back a lot to where he's doing a lot more sad, like, in-your-feels stuff. This one has an absolutely beautiful message just about knowing who you're meant to be, fighting the ways that people want you to live and trying to live the way that God intended for you to live, even if people don't think of that as the smart path, always guiding you in one direction or another. You know how that is. So I'm just going to go track by track since it's only 6 tracks long, and each track has a specific message that's really easy to break down but really influential. At least to me anyways, and it could be to you if you can relate as well. So the first track is called Damascus, and if you don't know what Damascus is, the road to Damascus, of course, that is the biblical path that refers to where Saul, he was traveling down, he met God. Of course, God struck him with blindness because seeing God blind, and it basically resulted in Saul becoming a whole new person, literally changing his name to Paul, and becoming one of the most well-known writers for books of the Bible, one of the closest followers of God in general. And that's kind of just exactly what this entire track is about. I want to specifically point out the line, which this is going into what I was talking about as I was breaking down the entire album, just talking about following God's path despite the world thinking it's not smart, to where Hulvey is saying, the world said college, God said no. The world said stop, Hulvey, God said go. Generally speaking, everyone in this world is going to tell you, go to college. And I think college is a great thing. I think most people do need to go to college, but sometimes that's not what you're called to do. Sometimes you're called to go into a trade. Sometimes you're called to go into music. Sometimes, you don't know what your path is going to be. It might not require college. So college could be a waste of your time. It could be a waste of 4 years. It could be a waste of money. It could be extra stress that you didn't need in your life. Not saying that that's how it is for most people. Most people, I would say, probably do need to go to college. I don't regret going to college. I know I needed to go there. But like I said, it's not in everyone's plan. It's not in everyone's path. So I thought that was a really cool way of breaking that down. Following that up is the song Motions, which first appeared on the SS19. That was the Reach Records group project from 2019, where they just released a bunch of songs over the summer. This track being called Motions. It's just about making it through life while in a dry season, and it was great on that project, but it fits perfectly right here into this project right here. Again, just going through a dry season, just going through the motions, feeling like, taking it day by day, kind of like how we're all doing right now in this quarantine, where it's like, man, another day, I did the exact same thing, nothing. Listened to a lot of music, did some homework. For those of you watching Tiger King, of course, not me, but played some video games, just going through the motions. I just want to point out some lines again. He says, days just feel the same. Why can't life just change? I've been trying to find my way. I'm tired of going through the motions. Again, just talk about how, he's going through life like things are just coming at him and he's just taking them as they come. but he's not really feeling any type of way about him. He doesn't feel positively. He doesn't feel negatively. It's just going. And he's not really going out of his way to do things that he feels like he needs to do. He's just taking things as they come to him. He's letting things come to him. He's not going out and grabbing them. And that is not a positive way to live life. It can be very tiring, and it can lead to definitely depression. So I love the fact that he brings that up. Following that up with the track Cold Water, which is kind of just a picture of baptism. Basically breaking down how, when you get baptized, it's supposed to be a spiritual thing. You're supposed to be awakened. But in this case, it's like someone pouring cold water on you and waking you up. Specifically following the track Motions, where, again, he was just going through a dry season and just living life to live. Now he's being woken up, and this track focuses a lot on like how we ignore our sins, but yet God's constantly working inside of us until we are awake. We realize what we've been doing, and he gives us a path to change that. So it's like Cold Water is the waking you up from going through the motions to get to that next step, and that next step being described on the track If I Gave It All. Now this track is just a lot about being scared of losing who you used to be whenever you decide to give it all to God and become who you're supposed to be. But that's the thing, you're becoming who you're supposed to be. So you shouldn't be afraid of losing things that you used to have, whether it be relationships, whether it be certain television shows maybe, or games, or music that you listen to, or whatever you have to give up. A lot of people are in like toxic friendships or have toxic girlfriends or boyfriends, whatever. So whenever God starts to go work on them, maybe you have to lose that. I know you probably don't want to, because honestly speaking, you do love that person, but you don't realize how much they are causing you pain, or even vice versa, how much pain you're causing them. So sometimes just cutting that off is the best thing, and that's what you need to do. But a lot of times we go through life fearing, like, if I do change, am I going to lose that? Is it worth it? What you need to realize is that eventually, well, not eventually, but it is worth it. Whenever it's the path that God wants you to go down. And that's just what he's saying here. Despite the fun that you might have with it, it'll cause you a lot less pain in the long run. And specifically, I want to point out the line, if I gave it all to you, would you take away my lust for fame and then the music too? That's just a beautiful way of breaking that down to where, he knows that he needs to lose his lust for fame, how he wants to become famous, and how that is the end goal. But music being a potential pathway to that, what if he had to lose music too? So that's a tough one there. But again, in the long run, it could be worth it if that's the path that he was supposed to take. Following that up with the next track, Everything, which is literally a direct follow-up to where he does decide to give everything up to God. It's just where he realizes that it's so much easier to do that and let God choose his path. And then finally, transitioning into the song Anchor, the final track, where he just talks about how God is his anchor. When he falls, feels weak, and inevitably fails, God's there to pick him up, give his soul a home, lead him back to the path that he's supposed to be taking. Specifically, I want to point out the line, I'm honestly nothing without you, so why do I still try to doubt you? It's not about talking about you, it's building my whole life around you. So just how God anchors you in to where you're supposed to be at that specific moment, holds you down, doesn't let you get too far away. And whenever you do stray, brings you back into that. And how in the long run, and in the short term, it's all worth it to just give it all to him. So again, encapsulating this entire album, I love this album so much. It spoke to me on so many levels. It's something that I can relate to and that a lot of people can relate to. Even again, if you're not Christian, there's things that you need to give up. There's times where you go through dry seasons where you feel like you're going through the motions. So even if you don't relate to all the God-speaking messages, you can still relate to parts of this project, and I love that. I think the production on here is really good. A lot of the times it makes you feel exactly what you need to feel. It's very finished, very well mastered. It mixes very well to where his rapping fits perfectly on the beat. The beat goes how you think it should go. It makes you, whenever it wants to send a melancholic message, it definitely makes you feel that. Whenever it wants to get more hype, it doesn't do that often, but it does that to a degree, specifically on Motions. And whenever it wants you to feel uplifted and hopeful, like on songs like Everything and Anchor, you feel that too, to where you feel like, dang, everything's being lifted off. I'm free. I thought that was great. I think it's a perfect way to send a message like this, 20 minutes long. That doesn't seem like a long time to craft such a deep message, but whenever it's a message that you've heard before, it's just being presented in a slightly different way, perhaps. I think this is a perfect way to do that, to where it doesn't feel drawn out, but it feels like it's it doesn't feel like it's jam-packed in there either. It just feels like it's well explained throughout. And I'm sure there are a couple more topics within this specific topic that could have been broken down more. But again, I think he talks about everything that he needs to talk about. Specifically being this being a more personal story that we can relate to rather than being one for us that he's presenting. It's one that he's presenting from himself that we are able to say, dang, I've been there too, because I feel like most people have been there. So again, it doesn't feel stretched out, but it doesn't feel jam-packed either. I think it's just right and so easy to listen to. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this project or just let it go for hours, even though it's only 20 minutes long. Just going back all the way back through it, it hits me so hard and it's so good. I think Hulvey has an amazing future ahead of him. I can't wait to hear a full-length project from him, as he's only given us like a 15-minute project and a 20-minute project. So fingers crossed that something big's coming within the next year or two from him. But this one, I got to go with an 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, it potentially drawback could have been longer to where more topics were explored. But again, I love the contained message to where he said what he needed to say and got off, did not stretch it out too far or anything like that. I do hope to get a full-length project again to where he explores multiple different messages, multiple different vibes, rather than just hype like he did on the first one, or just mostly melancholic and then hopeful on this one. But when it's presented in this way with these 15, 20-minute projects, that's exactly what I want and exactly what I got here. So very much enjoyed this one. Cannot wait to see more from Hulvey. That being said, that's all I have for y'all. If y'all enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell next to my name for notifications. Make sure you share this video so other people can watch. I appreciate y'all watching, and I will hit y'all up next time.